Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, November 14th, 2018. We hope your Wednesday's off to a good start. I've got the Missy Jen in the house today, having a little extra coffee time, midweek coffee time. One of the things Jen has done is track the fires very closely in California, and they've really been tragic. I look at things from a ripple effect. We know fire destroys. We had $17 billion of damage here in NorCal. We have thousands and thousands of business owners and homeowners lined up suing. We have law firms like crazy. The first responders put out the fires back in October. Then we have the second responders, which is the waves of lawyers, Missy Jen, and they had commercials, television, radio, sign up, come for an informational meeting. Let's hold PG&E responsible. And of course, it's believed, although it's not finally been determined, that the Tubbs fire, which was the major one that came into Santa Rosa from Napa County, was caused by a down power line. In high winds, trees fly, and they take out power lines. And it's a fact of life. And you have people that, PG&E will say, well, we want to come on your property to trim the trees. And you have some environmental nuts. No, I don't want you, so there a little bit of what Trump is saying about forest management and some stuff is absolutely correct. You have people out here that, don't touch that tree. You got no right to harm nature and stuff. And meanwhile, trees get rot and die. Logging slows down dramatically, which has occurred out here, Missy Jen. Logging permits, and you have forests that aren't properly managed. So there's a lot of truth to that, whether people like to hear it or not. It's distasteful to say it at the moment that people are dying. But since when has the president really ever had a filter on his mouth? But there's some truth to what he's saying. The mismanagement of forestry research. But as the title of today's video says, Missy Jen, there are ripple effects.
That's right.
To this. We had $17 billion of damage. We have fleets of lawyers lined up from some of the most expensive law firms in the nation. Now we put another layer of $15 billion on that from the Paradise Camp Fire. Now you're up to $32 billion of claims. And everybody's pointing towards Pacific Gas and Electric. We're not talking about the Woolsey fire down in Southern California. That'll be a bird of a different feather for Edison Electric. But up here, it's Pacific Gas and Electric. Now you say to yourself, well, PG&E had insurance against this type of thing. Well, remember, these tragedies are on an apocalyptic scale. They're not just a neighborhood blowing up like the San Bruno pipeline that blew up down in San Bruno and killed the people down there. Gas pipelines blew up. We're talking about a tragedy that has cost, between the two of them, 100 lives and, 14,000 structures destroyed. There's a lot of money in some very expensive areas. Problem is, against those $32 billion, and here's the ripple effect of tragedy, you only have a utility that has $3.5 billion of assets. It's a mega utility. It's huge. $3.5 billion of assets, cash and assets, only $1.5 billion of insurance to pay out. We'll call that $5 billion against what, Missy Jen? $32 billion of claims. Somebody's going to get the short end of the stick, and here's the ripple. If you think that these claims, if you think that you're going to go to court and squeeze a lot of money out of PG&E, while it continues to have to provide service to 40 million people, it ain't going to happen. Not going to happen. The financial wherewithal is not there. So as a result of that, smart people, and what you're not seeing reported in the news is Pacific Gas and Electric stock is under a total and complete collapse on the New York Stock Exchange. Why? Because smart insiders know they've got no chance to pay out. So what's likely to happen is bankruptcy. And what happens in bankruptcy? All the claims that are piled against the company are pushed aside, and the company has to restructure itself to continue to provide its mission of service. This is going to be the real ripple effect of tragedy. Then put on top of that, all of y'all that have 401ks, pension plans, retirement funds, they're chock-a-block full of PG&E because that was a blue chip utility. Well, guess what? The dividends are going to be cut. And a lot of people, the ripple effects of tragedy are going to be there's less money floating around in the economy as this company goes into a crash mode to attempt to preserve itself in the face of that. This will be the real tragedy. There probably won't be any payout to these people, short of whatever their insurance companies are providing. Because if the insurance companies think they're going to go against PG&E and actually win something, they're probably not. So what's going to happen next is we're going to socialize this gigantic loss. Remember, we live in a country where we privatize profits to a few people. But when it comes to loss, you know, the first rule of the lawyers and everybody else will be socialize the loss, put it against everybody. Right? So they'll be going to the state legislature with their hats in hands saying, hey, we need a state bailout on this thing, and it's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out, particularly against a legislature that's 90% Democrat. It's going to be very interesting to see. Stay tuned, guys. The ripple effects of tragedy aren't just fire, although they're certainly the worst ones. In our hearts, Missy Jen and I follow this. Our hearts go out to these people that have had loved ones pass away.
Yes. Terrible.
And also have had their homes destroyed within our own community. We have people whose in-laws have been lost in paradise, and everything they had was lost. It's a real tragedy. But the really tragic parts are probably still to unfold out here. If you want to keep an eye on PG&E, the ticker symbol on the New York Stock Exchange, PCG, Edison Electric down south, EIX. Very tough days to be running a utility, especially in the era of lawyers and lawyering and all that. It's going to be very interesting to see and watch them continue to provide service, electric, gas, and everything else here. So, all right, everybody, happy Wednesday to you. We hope that you're in a safe place and getting ready for your holiday season. Happy Wednesday to you.